Hello and welcome to the Blame Game, the show that takes the news, makes love to it on a beach and then gets 3 months in a Dubai jail. As usual, our comedy love gods are Colin Murphy, Kane and Neil Delamere. And our guest tonight is young, gifted and Scottish. He's on the show partly because he's incredibly funny, but mainly because we get a grant for him from the Ulster Scots Agency. It's Mr. Kevin Bridges. That's our lineup now. On with the show. Members of the audience ask the questions and our panel provide some answers. So, can we have our first question, please?
Hi, Tim. Seamus from Whitehead. Who do you blame for the impasse at Stormont?
Thank you, Seamus from Whitehead. Do I know you? Yes. Due to stubbornness, the Northern Ireland executive hasn't met for 4 months. Due to common sense, the Northern Ireland public don't give a toss. But who can we blame for the impasse at Stormont?
It is scurrilous to try to put the blame on Northern Ireland's politicians because they may not have met for 4 months, but 2 of those months they were on holiday. 2 of those months were statutory summer holidays because they had to relax after doing nothing for the year up to that summer holidays. They need to be a break. Because it's easy for politicians to let on they're doing stuff. Vladimir Putin, that's the Russian thing, has his own DVD out. He's got his own DVD, Learn Judo with Vladimir, right? And he throws people about the mat. Is there a picture of Vladimir?
I think we have a picture of
DVD.
Mr. Putin and his
DVD. There you go. Vladimir and his thing. Right. Peter Robinson and Martin McGuinness are bringing out their own DVD. How to sit in your arse, do nothing, and get paid a fortune for it. There you go. Look, I'm twiddling my pen. I hate you, you wee bastard. Really? Look, Peter's going to look at him. He's not. No, he didn't. He almost looked at him. They get £70,000 expenses. They get £40,000 a year. A year they're paid. And they're not talking to each other. One of the reasons they're not talking to each other, you love this, because the Catholics won't talk Ulster Scots and the Prods won't talk Irish. They have employed an Ulster Scots translator to translate the English into Ulster Scots, which then has to be translated back into Irish, back into English. Now, it's a very complex job. If I was to say to you something like a phrase, a political phrase, I want you to translate it. If these even can do this, 30,000 quid you get for this, right? If I was to say to you, my gut instinct is that this information is a fabrication. In Ulster Scots, how would you say that?
That's a load of bollocks.
30,000 quid. 30,000 quid.
30,000 quid to sit through Northern Ireland Assembly debates. Actually, it's not a bad deal, you know. Did you ever sat through one? And the thing about it is, Ulster Scots is technically a language. You know, most languages you need a good ear. With Ulster Scots, you need a straight face.
The communication's a problem. There was some thing brought out, the pamphlet. One of the tour buses or hotels brought a pamphlet out during the week for tourists here, so they could understand what we actually say to them. Do you know what I mean? Right. And they're actually sending, the bit I love, they're taking in foreign students, right? Students from, say, France are coming here to Tyrone to learn English. Can you imagine driving through the south of France and getting lost in some wee villages, guy standing there, excusez-moi, monsieur, excusez-moi, Pyrenees, Scotland. Oh, you're a while off the Pyrenees now, son. You need to take a boat down that road, and when you see McGuire's, go left to McGuire's, aye.
So is it taking the actual pubs as well from...
Oh, yes.
I think it was one of the bus companies that handed out one of these leaflets to people, and I don't know what it's like, single fare, all that sort of thing. Concession ticket. Have you got a concession ticket? Concession ticket? No, like a concession ticket, please. I'm from Tyrone. I've learned English from a Tyrone man, boy.
J'habite à Strabane. Je m'appelle BJ et j'aime RPM. J'adore le Subaru.
Monsieur Handbreaker.
J'ai baillé les caves et dans l'opnet là. J'aime cuisine de France. That is all I know.
See, I don't get if you're in Belfast, walking through Belfast, and you ask directions, and you're asking for, and you were French, asking for the city hall, and somebody went, "Are you taking a piss?" How would you understand? It's wee phrases like that. Are you taking the piss?
Why would you answer a question on someone else?
Why would you want to go to the city hall? Why would anybody want to go to the city hall?
It's a beautiful building for people what to look at.
So it wasn't the Troubles. It wasn't the Troubles was the trouble here for years. You'd no tourists. People like you who went, I would like to find. Are you taking a piss? Take off home to France with your baguettes.
This is assembly nonsense. They won't talk to each other because the Shinners want to be in charge of police, and which is absolutely insane. And the DUP don't want to give them the police because they think it's absolutely insane and they own it. And they won't talk to each other. I hate and loathe politicians. Anybody who wants to be a politician, if you put yourself up for election, immediately that should disqualify you from being a politician. I think they should run the whole assembly like jury service, right? That every few, people get just a wee jury notice through the door. You should get that. You have been selected for, oh no, to be an MLA for 3 months.
What do you think about it? It's genius. It was, as far as the British and Irish governments were concerned, it was a work of genius. Because if you have all the psychopaths and lunatics in one place, you know where they are. We know where they are. We can watch them. We can monitor them. There's cameras on them. They think that they're actually running the country. They think that they're doing stuff, but we're actually just watching them. We're keeping an eye on them, giving them a wee car now and again. You let them go out. You give them a suit and a tie. A lot of them guys, the only time they wore a suit and a tie before that there is when they were going to court.
Yes, we're not going to slag off MLAs anymore. We don't want to be here all night. In the American election, by the way, the McCain campaign has accused Barack Obama of hanging around with a terrorist. Of course, over here, that's a real vote winner. Can we have our next question, please?
Hi, my name's Laura Holland. I'm from Downpatrick. Who do you blame for bad driving?
Who do you blame for bad driving? Yes, the trial is taking place of 2 men allegedly involved in the Glasgow airport terror attack. Terrorists tried to blow up the airport, but only got as far as the front doors. As Michael Stone said, you see, it's not as easy as it looks. But who can we blame for bad driving?
I think I should field this one. Glasgow. It was our proudest achievement. They attacked New York, Madrid, London, and then Glasgow. We were just flattered. And my dad had a tear in his eye. But they showed the CCTV footage for the first time. But I actually think they should have showed the amateur footage. Remember, like the Americans at 9/11, you had them there going, oh my God, and then in Glasgow airport, you had some young guy with a mobile phone, like that fucking belter. That cars are right off. Because that's what basically they drove a car through a window. How can that class as terrorism? That's vandalism. Because that kind of thing happens all the time in Scotland. There's actually a story this week. It was about a student that he drove his car through the wall of a police station. A van, sorry. But he drove it at that much force that the van actually embedded itself in the police wall. And as he was being dragged from the wreckage, he shouted, I own the police, you're all sacked, the code is 123, let me in. Right? As you do. Right? And as he was being sentenced for dangerous driving, what he said was, it wasn't dangerous, mental, maybe. Because he wasn't drunk, and that's the alarming thing. And fair enough if the guy was drunk, right? Because I think my theory is that if police they stop a reckless driver, right, and they test them for drink and drugs, and if they test negative, they're not drunk or not on drugs, and then they should go to jail. Because I know you drive somewhere, somebody cuts it in